Well, a very good morning. Welcome back to Oberstdorf, the second day of the Tour de Ski after the prologue yesterday. Everyone looking forward to today's races. The women's race already seems to have been turned into a question of which of the Norwegians is going to win. The men's race, very open indeed. Fascinating race yesterday. Great to see Dario Colonia back in action. Well, there's the scene, snowing, which has got to be a good thing. Well, there's been a shortage of snow around all season, but everyone glad to see some good conditions in Oberstdorf. Haga of Norway, sensational run from her when one of their number is down. Someone else steps up to the mark, and Haga yesterday getting her first ever podium finish. It was a very quick time, coming in ahead of Therese Johaug, which could be a significant blow to Johaug, the defending champion. Heidi Weng also on good form, paced the race well, and that proving crucial. Good, powerful double poling, brilliant skating into the finish from Weng, and just going ahead of Haga. But there was one more Norwegian to come, and she was the best of them all yet again. Marit Bjørgen, who's done nothing wrong this season. The worst result she's got so far this year is a 4th place. Yesterday she finished in 1st place, and the margin was massive. 10.7 seconds made up over those 3 kilometers. Is she on the way to her first ever Tour victory?
You know that the shape is very good, and yeah, but tomorrow is the 10K again, and they are coming very hard behind me, so we see. But it's a good start, and I know that the shape is very good. So.
Well, it's not the first time she's had a good start to the Tour de Ski, so still she has to answer all her critics and win this one. Remember, 7 races in 9 days. So the lineup is made. It's a pursuit start. Mike Dixon alongside myself, Patrick Winston, for this one. Always get excited about the Tour de Ski, Mike. And yesterday was a classic example of why it's so interesting, because they race over distances that we don't normally see, and even the best get the pacing wrong.
I love it, absolutely love it. And today this is going to be an interesting one with Bjørgen, 15 seconds advantage. That's partly from her 10 seconds that she destroyed the field by yesterday. But they will be chasing her down. There'll be a pack there trying to work together to close the gap, close those 15 seconds.
Well, remember, yesterday was freestyle, the skating technique. Today is all about classic, and the queen of classic is Justyna Kowalczyk. Now, she starts some way behind. 10th yesterday, 35.3 seconds given away to Marit Bjørgen. I think Kowalczyk will close a significant amount by the top of the first hill, but you look at her results and her splits yesterday, she was losing 5-6 seconds every time she came down the hill. There she is. What can Kowalczyk do today? The engine is in good shape, Mike. We saw that on the climb yesterday, but is she going to get caught out by her inabilities on the downhill sections?
It's a very technical descent, but I think she's in her best form for a very long time. She has a chance of a podium.
Well, it looks a little like the Norwegian Championships on the front row. Well done to Nicole Fessel of Germany, who was the best of the rest yesterday. Norway in dominant form, as they have been all season. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And it's Marit Bjørgen who is going to get away first. She's got a 15.7 second margin over Heidi Weng. And Weng is often reckoned to be the person who's going to replace Marit Bjørgen at the top of women's cross-country skiing. She's still got some way to go. Bjørgen on her own. Decision time for Marit Bjørgen. Mike, will she try and hold that 15-second gap, or will she join up with her teammates to share the work?
I think that Bjørgen, we saw the way she started. I think clearly in her mind she's going to try and lead this from the start line to the finish line, and I think that's her best strategy, to try and gain advantage, open the gap up in this Tour.
And what about Ragnhild Haga, who's underway? Therese Johaug starting just 6 seconds behind Haga, so the 4 Norwegians on track. Fessel is away, Østbergen, Bjørnsen go, and then the masses start. Elizabeth Steven in there for USA, who had a great race yesterday. Kowalczyk has started, 35.3, remember the margin. We've already got 30 skiers underway in the first 47 seconds. That's how tight it is. That's how good the racing was yesterday. And all these women have a chance, but they've got to team up. They've got to work together if they're going to catch this woman.
They certainly have, and I think, well, Bjørgen's going to try some of that dragging factor, dragging the field with her. But of course, Therese Johaug, we saw her start there. She went off at a crazy pace. She clearly wants to get right onto the tail of the skis of Bjørgen.
Now, if the snow is fresh, it's often a disadvantage to be leading the way, because you're vorlaufing, as they call it. You're pressing the snow down, which is fractionally slower, particularly on the downhill sections. Any advantage or any disadvantage that Bjørgen's going to have to cope with in that sense?
Well, I think it was worrying. 15 minutes to go, we saw this very fine snow falling, so it's +1 degree, and then these little balls of little snowflake almost turning into ice balls came down. So I saw that Bjørgen was gripping a little too much initially, but the track will be fine the second time round. 4 times round, a 2.25 kilometre track.
Fessel and Østberg working together. A little slip there from Marit Bjørgen with that left ski. I think that might have been a technical mistake rather than the waxing, but she will go thin with the wax. She'll go short and thin because she has such good technique and she's so powerful. Talking about that, had a little look, was Googling Bjørgen last night just to try and find out any interesting facts, and there are a couple of shots of her with a sort of t-shirts on. She is one powerful woman, and many men in the Norwegian team would like the arms and shoulders that she's got.
She's legendary in the gym, and pull-ups, press-ups. She can match most men, as you say, but an incredibly strong woman.
Justyna Kowalczyk has already made ground. She's made 4 places already, started 10th, up into 6th at the moment. Looks as though the Americans are staying with the pace at the moment. And Sadie Bjørnsen, who had a brilliant race yesterday, Mike. And I don't know if you've had a look at the results from yesterday, but Bjørnsen's splits were astonishing. 37th at the first split, 27th at the second split, up into the top 15 by the third split, and she finished 7th. Great pacing from her.
And looking at I think that is amazing pacing and intelligent pacing on a short, sharp course that they're not used to. The snow is beginning to drop harder again. It could affect Bjørgen at the front. But when you look at the Americans yesterday, Patrick, 4 of them in the top 22. They really are a team on the rise again, and good to see it.
Well, what do you think the first split will be? Remember, the margin was 15.7. There are the chasers in the background. Certainly doesn't look as though they've made too much of a dent on that margin as yet. But if the snow falls, those behind have a big advantage. And it is, you can't really see it on your screens, but there is a certain amount of precipitation at the moment, and that will not help Bjørgen at all. Therese Johaug has already gone from 4th to 3rd and into 2nd, and working hard. She's taken Heidi Weng with her. Interesting to see that Østberg has gone past Haga, but Haga's better known as a freestyle skier, and I think we'll see her drop down the order today. But she's more than achieved what she came to do.
Oh, I think it's an amazing start for Haga. As you say, maybe slightly better in the freestyle. There she is coming through now.
Here's the workhorse, Justyna Kowalczyk, up into 10th. She's gone past Nicole Fessel of Germany. Fessel, 31, comes from Oberstdorf, so I think that will have been a big advantage yesterday. She knows this downhill, that S-bend that we saw giving a few people problems yesterday. She knows that better than anyone else.
And what a great feeling for Fessel to run out of the stadium to her start line. They called the top 10 out individually at home, and having achieved a 5th place yesterday. Fessel, she's having a wonderful start to her season.
Great slow-mo shots of Marit Bjørgen. A little bit of skating, that's permitted, provided you're changing track. And I wonder whether we're going to see Bjørgen change track frequently, so those chasing aren't quite sure which one they should be in to find the fastest conditions.
Well, Kowalczyk on the right side there, just passing all the traffic. She started 10, I think she's up into 5th, maybe 6th at the moment. But I think the key factor, intelligent skiing from Johaug, out of the tracks, much faster on the ice between the cut tracks at the moment.
Do you think we'll see Kowalczyk on the flat outside? We will.
We will.
And she's just going past Haga now.
And you know,
Kowalczyk's going to hold her back.
No, she won't. She's going to team up, you would expect, with Therese Johaug, but that's been an incredible 5 minutes to close the gap on Bjørgen and to almost close the gap on Johaug.
Yeah, we're looking at a 25 to 26 minute race perhaps today. A lot will depend on the speed of the snow. Sounds a ridiculous thing to say, but it does vary massively depending on the temperature and of course the snowfall that we talk about. Now that's the picture ahead of Justyna Kowalczyk, and she is now only some 40 meters down on Therese Johaug, and she only started 7 seconds behind Johaug, so the impression time-wise isn't so massive. It's the places that Kowalczyk has gained. But the Tour de Ski is all about accumulated time, Mike.
Well, it
and
is.
bonuses.
It is indeed. And well, is Marit Bjørgen at the front there? Is she feeling the pressure? I don't think she's going to be any less distance ahead or time ahead of the rest. In fact, she may have extended.
I think she's extended. Remember, it was 15.7, but Johaug started 28.2 behind. So she might have closed a little on Marit Bjørgen, but is it enough? 23, a 5-second gain. What about Kowalczyk, who started 35.3 behind? She's now 30. So Kowalczyk and Johaug moving at exactly the same speed. That's interesting. And Denise Herrmann now 35. She's had a very good run, Denise Herrmann. So she's gained on Marit Bjørgen as well. I think Bjørgen perhaps being slowed a little by the snow as we watch the under-23 world champion going through from Sweden, Nilsson. Looking good at 51 behind at the moment. Started 42, so she's lost 10 seconds or so to the race leader. I think Bjørgen's finding the glide a little tough.
Well, it's a tough one today, isn't it? What do you do? It's a fairly flat course until we get to that epic climb where the split timings are. And I think you have to have the glide factor, but if you haven't got grip going up that steep hill, we saw a number of the later athletes slipping at the base of the climb, then you really are in a bad way if you can't get your grip on the steep climb.
4 times round this 2.5 kilometre loop as we have a look at Therese Johaug just negotiating one of the corners. Looking a little bit nervous, but good techniques. You know, the feet slightly wider than normal, the hands forward, the centre of gravity lowered, so no issues there. It'll be interesting to see Kowalczyk. She's made it safely around the first loop without any incident. How much time has she gained? Johaug now at 24, having started 28, so Bjørgen gaining a little on the downhill into the stadium. Kowalczyk 36, and as you know, she started 35. So Kowalczyk has lost a lot of time coming back down into the stadium.
6 seconds. If you're going to give away 6 seconds every time down that descent, it's very difficult to place herself on the podium with that kind of loss.
Crazy. She needs a month with Bodie Miller. He'll sort her out. 51 going through. The Martin Tropenin. Jessie Diggins for USA. Now, have we got a faller? I think we have.
61, that's all the way back down to Grafnings, Maria Grafnings, the Swede.
Well, at least the Scandinavians still fall, makes us feel better. Welcome back to Oberstdorf. This is the main group going through. They've covered some 3.5 kilometres. Marit Bjørgen still out in front, and having descended best of all down into the stadium, she has got a lead back to where it was at the start of the day. And Justyna Kowalczyk, who closed dramatically on the climb out of the stadium, has lost all the time she gained with some poor descending. But it's a familiar story. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. But today, it could prove crucial. Mike, we were talking about Kowalczyk in between the break. We know she's had an issue with the balance and with the downhill over the years. But this year, she seems to be worse than ever.
She certainly, yesterday she looked, certainly her spark, her form, her engine, her capacity is at her top racing level. But yes, to lose so much on technical aspects, the easy technical aspects where you're not working the engine effectively, it's the technical descending. It must be very, very frustrating for her to be losing 6 seconds on the big descent here.
And even on this second of 4 laps, it looks as though Kowalczyk hasn't got the chase in her that she had first time around. She can't afford to be losing 6 seconds on the downhill every lap and then close that gap again. It's going to take too much out of her for the races to come, and we have to think of the Tour de Ski as an endurance test. I know each of the races is pretty short, but 7 races, 9 days, there's no one who doesn't feel the effect of that.
No, and many of the athletes are saying that this, who have experienced it many times, are saying the whole aspect of this Tour de Ski is you need to rest. You have to stress less, you have to rest more, you have to just keep away from all the big circus that is surrounding this Tour de Ski.
But that's why I enjoy it so much, and particularly in the women's field, where Bjørgen, we know, needs to get a minute lead over everyone before the final day if she's going to stand a chance of winning. But she also needs to get to day 3, 4 expending as little energy as possible. That's not going to be easy. Justina Kowalczyk just needs to stay close, but preferably get ahead of Therese Johaug, who's quicker than her on the final climb. They've all got to pace it, and they need to pace it differently depending on the skills that they have.
And that's what makes this tour so interesting. Bjørgen knows that it's tough to go out there with 15-second start and to try and maintain that. She seems to be achieving that today. She'll pick up another 15 seconds bonus for winning today if she wins today, which leaves, and she looks like she's going to, which leaves her a massive advantage going into the sprints in 2 days' time. And she's likely to certainly podium there and gain more bonus seconds. Is she touchable this time? I'm not sure she is.
Very sticky on the skis going up that climb. Obviously hasn't held back. She goes through still on her own, and the margin still looks to be around 20 seconds between herself and Therese Johaug. Heidi Weng racing an intelligent race as we have a look at number 7. That's Sadie Bjørnsen for the United States. Obviously, she's gone ahead of Østberg of Norway, who's really an out-and-out sprinter. I was really impressed with Østberg in Davos winning there. Only 3 women have won so far this year, Mike. Bjørgen, Johaug, Østberg, all from Norway. And if you look at last season, I think the Norwegians picked up over 60% of the victories in the Women's World Cup.
And that's been the case. Well, of course, Kowalczyk has won many, in fact, 18 10-kilometre classics in her career.
OK, give us an estimate on the margin now. I think we're looking at something closer to 30 seconds.
I think 26, 25. It's incredible what Bjørgen is doing out front. And Therese Johaug and, of course, Heidi Weng, I think they really had to go for it. It spoils the race maybe later on as we're seeing them fading now, but they really had to close that gap quickly if it was going to be possible in Bjørgen, and it really hasn't worked out, and now it's tripping them up. Johaug slipping quite badly there.
Impressed with Heidi Weng. Technique looks good. I think she's doing the right thing staying with Johaug. Even if she gains 0.5% or half of 0.5% sticking in behind Johaug, it's the right thing to do at this stage. And maybe we'll see a break from her in the second run. Kowalczyk now skiing with the rest. In fact, Sadie Bjørnsen going through. And is this the end of Kowalczyk's tour? The fact that this is her number 1 event, the 10-kilometre classic. She's dominated it for 7-8 years now, and she looks average.
Unfortunately, she does, and this time, 1 lap ago, she was only, 30 seconds behind. She's now 58 behind, so it's going to be a tough next 5 kilometres for her.
I feel I'm giving Kowalczyk a hard time, but I'm so impressed by her. I've been so impressed by her over the years, but I'm just frustrated that she doesn't seem to have improved the features that she's bad at. And surely that's the number 1 rule in this sort of game. Work at your weaknesses, because you'll get more gains than you will working at the things you're good at already.
I mean, it is if you want to improve, if you want to keep on improving, of course that is the way to do it. And it'll be interesting seeing this downhill. We saw a number of fallers last time. It's very fast. It's very icy. They put salt on it to tighten it up, but it's making it difficult for a number of the tail enders. And we've seen 3, 4 falls here.
Well, just in case we get that email again about the salt on the tracks, Mike, so a few observant viewers saying we put salt on the roads to get rid of the ice, we put salt on the tracks to create it.
It's strange how it works. You've got wet snow, you throw salt on it, and it seems to drop all the humidity through the surface, through the top part of the snow to lower down, so it tightens up the top part.
So through they come, and the margins now over 35 seconds, 37.2 back to Therese Johaug. Kowalczyk going through. Mike, what's her margin now? Remember, Kowalczyk 35 last time. She is now 1 minute and 2 behind. She's, I'm afraid she's certainly not going to win today. But how much damage is going to be done? 38, Claudia Niestadt. Disappointing run from Niestadt of Germany yesterday, formerly Claudia Kunzel. 51 going through. That's Martin Troppinin of Italy. Easy to confuse the Italians with the Norwegians, although the Italians have predominantly red suits. The Norwegians, obviously, as you can see, with the blue shoulders and that blue and white stripe down the legs. A traditional suit for the Norwegian team.
Well, as we're looking at Bjørgen, Patrick, we'll never see anyone like this again. She's gone out there, a huge amount of pressure to be leading this by 15, knowing full well that Therese Johaug and Weng are going to try and close her down. She's coped with all of that, and she really is pushing hard, knowing that today's win really secures a comfortable cushion for her for the next next week of racing.
Well, if we say she ends up a minute 20 ahead of everyone after today's race, do you think she then eases back and just cruises through stages 3, 4, 5 and say something for 6 and 7?
She'll keep it. She can back off mentally, pressure-wise, but I think that Bjørgen realises she needs, well, 45 seconds, a minute by the final day in order to try and win this tour for the first time.
Heidi Weng, as you will have seen, moving into second place. We go back to the group. Kowalczyk on the right wearing 10. Osberg wearing 6. Number 7 having another great day out there is Sadie Bjornsson, her teammate, just a little bit further back. Jessie Diggins wearing 14. 21 in your picture is Tanizhina from Russia. She finished 41.7 behind yesterday after the bonuses had been added. Just looking to see who's dropped off the pace, Mike. We know the leading 5 or 6 are all from the leading 5 or 6 yesterday, but any of the good runners yesterday who've dropped back?
Caroline Auge starting 9th, down to 32 at the moment for France, 137 behind, so that's a big loss. I do like the way that Fala, maybe as expected, Maiken Kaspersen Fala, she's moved all the way from 29th up into the top 10.
Nielsen getting to the front of that group as well. She's done well. She was 23rd. She's wearing the blue bib as the under-23 world champion, and so she's had a very good start today. Now got some good company up there. Emma Viken also going well, started 32. She's up alongside Justyna Kowalczyk as well. Number 8, Elizabeth Steven, 27-year-old from Montpellier in Vermont, not in France. And she's experienced, Mike. 2 times Olympics, 3 World Championships I think she's done. She finished 7th in the Tour de Ski last year. So Elizabeth Steven, certainly someone we should be expecting to feature in the top 10 at the end of this week.
Well, these two, I mean, they're best of friends, but they keep on changing the lead here, niggling the tail end of each other's skis. But such is their focus to try and close down on Bjørgen, and it's not really happening at the moment. Last count was 37 seconds, and I think that will extend by the time we get to the base of the huge climb.
Well, this group, are they going to be able to do any damage? I think Kowalczyk might do better just to sit in behind someone else and just get a little bit of respite going through. There's Ragnhild Haga hanging on in there, but struggling to stay with the pace of the chase group at the moment, wearing bib number 3. And just as I say that, it looks as though we've got one of the Russians. I think that's Tanizhina, who's just gone ahead of Kowalczyk on the right-hand side. Tanizhina wearing 21. It is Tanizhina. So she's having a storming race so far today. Leading this group again is Therese Johaug from Os in Norway. I think Os means the mouth of, a bit like Aber in Welsh. Some fantastic rivers out there in Norway. And she comes from the Nansen Ski Club, or the Nansen Sports Club. They do more than skiing, summer and winter. And that was founded, I think it was back in 1898 or something. So they have this fantastic tradition of ski clubs. And I think that's part of the reason they do so well. Something like 80% of kids are members of not 1 but 2 sports clubs.
That's brilliant. It's cultural, isn't it? 4.5 million people loving their outdoors. Cross-country ski tracks everywhere in Norway. And, well, that's why I think at the start of today we had 6 Norwegians in the top 7 places.
Heidi Weng and Therese Johaug sharing the workload, but already Marit Bjørgen has gone through the 6.9 kilometre stage some 15-16 seconds ago, and the 2 on your screen have got another 20 seconds before they will stop the clock. So we're looking at a margin of around 45, Mike, perhaps coming through, and add to that the fact that Marit Bjørgen seems to be descending into the stadium better than everyone else.
Everything about Bjørgen is so sharp. She wants this. This is the one title, Patrick, that she hasn't been able to achieve, to win the Tour de Ski. You just feel she's stated this season that this is her main aim this season because she's won everything else.
Nicole Fessel going through in the German colours, number 5, and a really good race by Nicole Fessel yesterday. Just off the podium, she could have done with some bonus seconds, finishing in the top 3. And talking of bonuses, an extra 15 for the win today, 10 for second, 5 for third. If Norway get 1, 2 and 3, which is the way it looks at the moment, it's going to be more bonus seconds and make it even harder for Kowalczyk of Poland, who's coming up towards the clock. 1:02 off the pace last time she came round. She's lost another 15 seconds to Marit Bjørgen and the rest. So things not going the way of Kowalczyk at the moment.
But as soon as we get to the hill, Patrick, Kowalczyk, she's in the pack, and then slowly she moves ahead of the pack. So strong is her fitness level, her strength level. It's just a pity the technical aspect is affecting her a little bit. It's not the main factor why she's 1:17 behind.
Rydqvist there for Sweden, going through 17, and already the margin at something like 2 minutes. Now, 25% behind the leader you have to stay. We could see a few victims knocked out of the Tour today with the speed that Bjørgen is setting at the front.
I don't think anybody expected Bjørgen to put such a pace in. They knew she was going to try and stay ahead, but I think they thought Therese Johaug would close it down, not being able to today.
But it doesn't make any sense for Bjørgen to have raced hard yesterday and to have let it slip today. You've got to, if you're going to put that much effort into a prologue, you've got to take advantage on the following day. She's doing exactly that, and I'm going to be very interested to see what she does in Val Müstair, or whether she can recover in time for the sprints in Val Müstair. To her credit, or fortune, there is a day off tomorrow.
I think that plays into the hands of Marit Bjørgen totally. And I'm just wondering, looking further back at Therese Johaug, she stated in our little interview that, you know, the minus 25 to minus 30 degrees at home over Christmas, Therese didn't really feel it was right to go out and train, and so she lost a little bit of time off her skis. And I think we'll see Therese Johaug coming back a little stronger as each day goes by.
Well, what a record this woman has. She's going to pick up, provided she stays on her feet, she's going to pick up her 20th Tour de Ski stage win today. Still some 8 behind Justyna Kowalczyk, who of course has won the title 4 times. Have a look at her overall World Cup results in her career, Mike. 30%, just around 30% she's won. In over 50% of the races she's entered, she's finished in the podium positions.
She's amazing. Well, 20 wins, isn't it, for Kowalczyk over the 10 kilometres, and of course the Olympic champion Kowalczyk. But that was on a day, it seems to be on a day when it's extremely hard work, a hard graft, and not too technical, where Kowalczyk really comes to the top.
Well, look at the gap between second and third place and the bulk of the chasing group. These two Norwegians are stating their claim for a podium place in the Tour de Ski already by holding off the chasers. They're losing ground to Marit Bjørgen, but great to see these two working so well together, and they seem to be changing at exactly the same points every time. And that effectively, Mike, is taking advantage of the slipstream.
I think it is, and Heidi Weng, she definitely was cornering a little advantage off the slipstream. Then she would sort of get that momentum around wide as Johaug was taking the corner on the inside line. But they are both fighting for those precious 10 seconds. So 10 seconds bonus for second place, 5 seconds for third place.
Heidi Weng, incidentally, yet to win a World Cup. Maybe this is going to be the year that it happens. She's only 23, so she's young, certainly compared to Marit Bjørgen and Therese Johaug. But she did get the bronze medal in the skiathlon event out in Sochi at the Olympic Games. Coached by Egil Christiansen. Do you know anything about him?
Well, he's been working with the team, the national team, for a very long time, very experienced. I think he's a good guide. He gives them good... he makes the athletes feel that they are in charge almost of their own plans, that they can decide. He gives them a little bit of freedom. And I think that's also why the Norwegians... They've been in a program of training and a club structure since the age of 10, and they know how to push themselves, they know how to train themselves. But a coach handing that over to the athlete is the best way.
Well, it's not the quickest 10K we've ever seen, but they are on the last lap. And Marit Bjørgen just has to go over the high point of the course and then descend towards the stadium. So we should be looking at, what do you think? Oh, we've got another injury. We've seen a couple of hard falls. That's Claudia Nystad, who's down, and they're trying to get her off the course, but it looks as though she's done some damage to that left leg.
She was going so well. She'd moved a long way up.
Yeah, she's in a lot of pain. She is in a lot of pain, and I don't know whether she was hit by one of the other athletes. While we were on one of the commercial breaks, we saw a slow-mo of an incident earlier on that involved one of the Swedish skiers and one of the Italians. No injuries on that occasion, but it did look nasty. Hopefully it won't affect anyone at the front of the field. Marit Bjørgen is still out in front, as you would have expected. Here is Neustadt. No, I don't think it's a collision at all. I think she's done something to the knee with that little slip. Now that might be talking ACL, something like that, bit of cartilage problems, or has she got cramp?
Well, we don't often see this. It's not that common to pick up injuries in cross-country skiing.
Well, I can count the injuries I can remember on one hand over the years, one of which involved skiing into a tree.
That never helps.
So Kowalczyk still in that chasing group, but still losing time. What will the margin be? Marit Bjørgen about to come up to the final split time before she heads down to the stadium. For the first time, the skis seem to be failing her. A little bit of slippage coming up the steepest part of the course, but now she's back into that rhythm, compressing the ski into the snow to get the wax to work. Now, if you're wondering how on earth wax works in these conditions, this looks worse than those pictures showed us, Mike.
I'm really surprised, but it did look like the slipping created some injury in her knee or maybe her hamstring, and she moved all the way from 38th up into 28th. Her race was going so well at that point. Yeah, it could well have been the hamstring that's given her issue. We can only guess at this stage, as we didn't have a full picture of what was going on. Now we see a little break from Therese Johaug, but not making any impression on Heidi Weng at the moment, who stays strong. These two racing for the runners-up position. Johaug winds up the tempo again and again and again. But then the skis start to fail. That's exactly where Bjørgen had a few issues. Now, which of these two is going to win? I think if Weng can stay with Johaug to the top of the climb, she'll have a fantastic chance coming down into the stadium. She's in absolutely the right position at the moment, and she wants to stay behind Johaug until the last 50 metres. Oh, what an unbelievable race. Nielsen there, bid 23. We don't see her number because she's leading the under-23 category in the Tour de Ski. She's having a fantastic race, having moved up from 23rd position.
Bjørgen is long gone. The margin over a minute, well over a minute between her and anyone else. She's down the S-bend safely into the stadium, and she's just, I think, going to beat that 30-minute marker. So it's a slow 10-kilometre classic for the women. The conditions have everything to do with that. But another sensational run by Marit Bjørgen, who is on her way. She could not have done more today. She got the splits all the way round. She knows how significant that is. And add to the time difference the 15-second bonus. She won't get a 15-second bonus over Johaug and Weng, who will also pick up 10 and 5, but she will get 15 seconds over Kowalczyk.
I think that was an amazing performance. So rarely do we see in the classic 10-kilometre in the women's field anyone breaking the field by over 40 seconds. She's done that today.
Weng is still in the right place. She needs to be in the slipstream. She settles well, goes for her move as they go over the road bridge. Now just 200 metres to go for second and third place. This is a really important battle. Heidi Weng trying to make it with the big names. Therese Johaug, who's a slight figure, her forte certainly the uphill stages, and Weng, who looked quick with a double poling in the closing stages yesterday, is doing exactly the same again. It's going to be Weng in second place for the second day in a row, and she'll hold on to runners-up position in the Tour de Ski. Johaug third place, loses 5 seconds, but that's a much better result for Johaug. But Mike, the margin between herself and Bjørgen already 1 minute 6 seconds. You said Bjørgen only needed 45 seconds at the start of the last day.
Well, she's destroyed, absolutely destroyed the field today, and Johaug and Weng will be asking themselves the big question: how do we close the gap on Bjørgen this time at the Tour de Ski? Nielsen, this is a great performance from the young Swede.
She started 23rd today, 42 seconds off the pace, so she's lost 50 seconds or so to Marit Bjørgen in terms of skiing time, but she has moved up a whopping 19 places. Brilliant skiing from Stina Nielsen. Fessel holds on to 5th. She finished 5th yesterday, so that's a great result for the Germans, with Kowalczyk down in 6th, and this was probably her best chance of getting on level terms with Marit Bjørgen. She has failed decisively.
It's a real pity for Kowalczyk, 1:39 behind the Olympic champion, having, well, a poor day by her very high standards today.
29.27. Marit Bjørgen, the only person under the 30-minute barrier for a 10K. It's a long time since we've seen them take this long over a 10-kilometre race.
It is a tough profile race today.
So not for the first time this season, not for the first time this weekend. We have a Norwegian 1, 2 and 3. Really, Mike, it is a question of which of the Norwegians is going to win this one.
On day 2 it appears that way when you've got a gap of 1:33 at the moment, and then that's without the bonus seconds being added. 4th place Nielsen, 1:33 behind.
Johaug and Weng have got to step up to the mark in Valmestad if they want to challenge Bjørgen, because it's a sprint. And remember, top 30 from the qualifying go through to the knockout phases. If they fail to qualify, they will automatically lose a minute to the winner. And so could well end up losing a minute or even 45 seconds to Marit Bjørgen.
Well, Bjørgen's got to be... She'll try and switch off to any pressures or future predictions. Well, we'll hear what she says.
You started with a 10-second lead today. I didn't see it exactly at the finish, but it's much bigger now. Chased from the beginning, but you found your own pace.
Yeah, my plan was to do my own race, and I heard they was taking some second in the beginning, the first lap, and then out in the second lap I heard that I was getting the second again, and I heard after the third and the third lap I heard that they have 50. So I understand that. Yeah, it was an amazing race, and today I had great skis. I was a little bit afraid in the beginning because it was so icy and I couldn't get my grip on my skis, so I was a little bit afraid for the beginning, but I had incredible skis today, so thanks to the guys in the cabin.
It's for sure there's more days of racing, and when you find that you have 50 seconds, do you say, all right, I go for more time? You push, or is it early days still?
Yeah, I try to go my own race, and I feel very good, and I could, good skis, so I just, if I can take some second, I will do it, and it's a good start, 2 races and nearly 1 minute, so I'm really happy.
Enjoy the rest tomorrow, and good luck the rest of the week.
Thank you.
Well, another great performance by Marit Bjørgen. This time last year, she had a 1.9 second lead in the Tour de Ski over Jakobsen, her teammate, and 7 seconds clear of Jakovic of Poland. It's much more significant this time round. She is over a minute clear of everybody. So the tail enders just crossing the line, and a lot of these 5 minutes behind. I think they are going to find that they are pulled out of the Tour. The margin 25%. And Bjørgen there, you see, number 1, 6-time Olympic champion, 12 world titles to her name. 3 times she's won the overall, but she has never won the Tour de Ski. She has moved a step closer yet again. Jessie Diggins, well, that's the reason she lost a lot of ground. We didn't see that in the initial footage. So hopefully she's okay.
Well,
I think is this Claudia Nystad?
I think it is.
Well, hopefully we'll hear what's going on with Nystad between now and the men's race, which comes up in just over half an hour's time. We can tell you that Martin Sundby, who took the wrong course yesterday, has been let off. We'll discuss that during the men's race, but he's still in, which is great news for the Tour. Some won't be so happy. Let's have a look at the programme for today on Eurosport. Of course, the Tour de Ski, the men's pursuit, at 11 o'clock. So 25 minutes' time, we'll be back on there and that. And then, of course, alpine skiing from Zagreb. And then the ski jumping with David Goldstrom from Innsbruck, the 4 Hills in its 3rd stage. Just one more competition to go in Bischofshofen to decide the 4 Hills champion for 2015. Well, here are the standings, and Marit Bjørgen in first place, obviously 29.27 today, 56.2 clear of Heidi Weng. Weng and Johaug had a good finish, Mike. That battle they were having certainly helped them close the gap down a little on Marit Bjørgen.
I think they had a major battle, and they did close initially on Bjørgen, as she said, but then they destroyed the field, Bjørgen.
Stadler moving up the order for the Austrians into the top 25. I think she would have settled for that at the start of the Tour. Day 2, remember 7 races in all, and the Tour finishing next Sunday on the Alpe d'Huez. Is Marit Bjørgen going to be the first to the top for the first time? Certainly looks that way at the moment. She has done nothing wrong so far, but endurance is the one thing that she's struggled with over the years.